Sai Ram students. In this video lesson, I will be doing question number 1 of exercise 7.3. That's a very important question. And please look at the last slide. Some important information is given out there. So let us begin with exercise 7.3, question number 1. Now this is the question. There are two triangles which are isosceles triangles in this. That is triangle ABC and triangle DBC. Now, these are the 4 things that you need to prove. Please make a note of this question in your geometry notebook. Now, there is no specific order of proving these 4 parts. What we are going to do is, first we will prove ABD congruent to ACD. So, I've shown it with a tick mark that this is the first thing that we are going to prove. Now, immediately after proving these 2 triangles congruent, we will prove AP bisects angle A. So that is the second part because it becomes easier after proving this. Then the third is triangle ABP congruent triangle ACP. That is this complete triangle APB congruent to triangle APC. And after doing that, there is one more triangle that you have to prove congruent. It is not mentioned out here. But until and unless you don't prove that triangle congruent, you will not be able to prove AP bisects angle D. So after proving that one specific triangle congruent, we will prove AP bisects angle D, and at the end, we will prove AP is a perpendicular bisector of BC. Okay, so I once again repeat, these are the 4 parts that you need to prove, and remember that every part of this proof is very important, and the conclusion that you draw from this will be used maybe in the next question. Whatever information you gather in the second question, that information will be helpful in the third, and the information that you give in the third will be beneficial in the fourth. So in short, all of the 4 are related. Okay, so each one is going to help the other. So let us start with question number 1, exercise 7.3. I suggest that as and when I'm explaining, you keep a rough book ready and try to understand and jot down some important points. So we take the complete triangle and I am mentioning what all is given. So it is given that ABC is an isosceles triangle, and therefore you know that AB is equal to AC. You could put it as 1, and BB is equal to DC. You could number it as 2. But this is not required. Numbering these 2 is not mandatory at all. Okay. Now let us begin with the proof. Now the first part that we are going to prove is triangle ABD congruent triangle ACD. So you have to look at only these 2 triangles. Now how do you prove these 2 triangles congruent? Look at the indications that I have given. The one in red, AB is congruent to AC, you're already aware because it is given. Then BD is congruent to CD. Again it is given that BDC is an isosceles triangle. So under the given part we have mentioned these 2. And don't you think AD is congruent to AD? It is a common side, right? So that is what you're going to mention. So proof, that is the first part. Name the 2 triangles that you're taking and write down the parts that are congruent. AB congruent to AC, it is already given. AD is congruent to AD, it's a common side. And BD is congruent to CD, it is given. Therefore, these 2 triangles will be congruent by which congruence rule? SSS congruence rule, right? So till here it is very easy. So I've put a tick mark saying that this is already proved. Now, let us prove that AP bisects angle A. So what we are going to do, now pay attention to this. We have just proved these 2 triangles congruent. Now let us write down one CPCT from this. So look at the figure carefully. Look at these 2 stars that I have put out here. That means this angle BAD is congruent to angle CAD. And why are these two angles congruent? Because they are the corresponding parts of congruent triangles, right? Now, BAD can also be written as angle BAP, right? Because of A dash D dash P. CAD angle can also be expressed as angle CAP, right? So, these two angles, I am writing it in a different way. Have a look. BAD is expressed as angle BAP and CAD is expressed as angle CAP. What are they? They are same angles with different names. I have numbered this as 1. If you look at what is given there, I had written 1 and 2. You don't have to number that. You consider this as statement 1. Okay. Now, by writing down this, what have I concluded from this? I have concluded that AP is the bisector of angle A. That means directly from the first part, I have moved to the third part. That is AP bisects angle A. So here we go. Therefore, AP bisects angle A, part 3. When you're writing this in your geometry notebook, you need not mention here as part 3 and you need not mention this as part 1. This is purely given just for you to understand it in a better way. So students, what I have done here is I have proved the first part, and after having proved the two triangles congruent, I have directly proved AP bisects angle A because it was more convenient to do it that way. Okay. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to prove angle, and now in the next slide, I'm going to prove triangle ABP congruent to triangle ACP. So students, you can make a note of this. Now let us move to the second part of the proof. So I have drawn the triangle once again with the indications that we already know and the star where we just proved in the previous slide that this angle BAP is congruent to angle CAP. Now these are the things that we need to prove, out of which first one is done. AP bisects angle A is also done. Now we are proving triangle ABP congruent triangle ACP, that is the second part. And after proving that, we will prove AP is the bisector of BC. Let us have a look. Now, you know that AB and AC are congruent. So take the two triangles, that is triangle APB and triangle APC. Write down the things that you know. AB congruent to AC, it is given. Then angle BAP is congruent to angle CAP from 1. If you look at the earlier slide, this CPCT was numbered as 1. Take that. Okay. Then AP congruent to AP, it's a common side. Therefore, the two triangles are congruent by SAS congruence rule. Now, after proving the two triangles congruent by SAS congruence rule, use one CPCT because you have to prove AP is the bisector of BC. We will not prove perpendicular now, that later. Let us prove AP is a bisector of BC. So look at the diagram. Look at seg BP and CP. Are they not congruent? Because of CPCT. Therefore, what we have proved from this, we have proved AP is the bisector of BC and we number this as statement 3. So students, what do you notice in this? That when we are proving the second part, at the same time, because of CPCT, the fourth part is also proved. Well, a part of the fourth part is proved. Okay. Now we will go to the next part of the proof. Have a look. Now, why is it that I have taken two separate triangles in this? It is just for you all to understand it better. You have to prove in this that AP bisects angle A, which you have already done. How do you prove AP bisects angle D? Now that is a tricky part. So for that, you have to prove these two triangles congruent. That is triangle DPB congruent to triangle DPC. Students, if you look at the proof, they have not asked you to prove DPB congruent to DPC, but it is for you to understand that these two triangles have to be proved first. Only then will you be able to prove AP bisects angle D. Okay, so let us start with the proof. Take the two triangles. I have separated out here. In triangle BPD and CPD, what are the things that you know? You're aware that BP is congruent to CP. We just proved it some time back, right? Then BP is equal to DP, it's a common side. And BD is equal to CD, it is already given. Therefore, the two triangles are congruent by SSS congruence rule. Now, if they are congruent by SSS rule of congruency, can we write a CPCT in this? Yes. Look at this, all of you. These two angles in black. That means angle DPB will be congruent to angle DPC. It will be required when you have to prove that AP is perpendicular to BC. So for that, these two angles will be required. So we'll make a note of it. Therefore, these two angles are congruent because of CPCT. Let's number that as statement 4. Now there is one more CPCT that you're going to use in this. What will that be? You need to prove AP bisects angle D. So look at angle D. Aren't these two angles also congruent? So I'm showing that in red. See, therefore BDP congruent to CDP because of CPCT, and we will number that as 5. Right? Now, if BDP is congruent to CDP, can I say that AP bisects angle D? Yes. So make a statement, therefore AP bisects angle D. So we have proved AP bisects angle A in the earlier slide, and we have also proved AP bisects angle D. But the only thing is, when you have to prove AP bisects angle D, you have to remember that you have to take these two triangles. In the proof, it is not mentioned to take these two triangles. It is for you to understand that yes, if AP has to bisect angle D, I need this angle D. So for that, I have to take these two triangles. Okay. Now, the next part, wherein we have to show AP is perpendicular to BC. How do you prove it is perpendicular? So what are the things that we have proved here? We have proved AP bisects BC, right? Then we have proved AP bisects angle A. We have proved AP bisects angle D. Now we have to prove AP is perpendicular to BC. Let us prove that. Now this is the last part. We have to prove AP is perpendicular to BC. Now write down the relation between angle APB and angle APC. They total up to 180 because they are angles in a linear pair. You're already aware that angle APB is congruent to angle APC because of CPCT. We have already proved it. So angle APB plus angle APB equal to 180. And from there, we get angle APB equal to 90. So we have proved AP is perpendicular to BC. So this is statement number 6. We have already proved in the beginning that AP bisects BC. So we conclude that AP is the perpendicular bisector of BC from statement 2 and 6. Now this is an important note. I want all of you all to practice chapter number 6, that is lines and angles, the complete chapter. From geometry, this is what you're going to get in your second periodic exam. Exercise 6.1 was asked in the first semester exam. I want you to practice 6.2, 6.3 exercise and also angle sum property of a triangle. So go through all the 3 exercises from lines and angles. From geometry part, this is what you're going to get for the second periodic. In the forthcoming videos, I will be taking revision of lines and angles. Okay, important questions will be given to you all, and at the same time I will be completing exercise 7.3 from triangles. So students, until then, goodbye and thank you.